Types of electron emission. There are mainly four types of electron emission. So there is thermionic emission. First one is thermionic emission. By the word itself, thermal means something to do with heat, right? So by this, using this method, it's given that suppose there is a surface and we give the surface a suitable heating. So we give heat to this surface, right? Heat is a form of energy. So by sufficient thermal heating, free electrons are able to become freed from the surface and come out of the metal, right? So giving energy in the form of heat will make these electrons escape into the atmosphere. So such a type of emission is called thermionic emission. So by using heat we can excite electrons. And the second type is field emission, right? Field emission. Field emission is when, suppose we have a surface like this, we have a metal surface and we give it, so we apply a electric field. Suppose we apply an electric field E, and we know electric field goes from positive to negative, right? If not, just note it down, electric field goes from positive to negative, right? So applying a really strong electric field, electrons can be pulled out of the surface, metal surface, and emitted into the atmosphere, right? I'll tell you how this works. Electrons are negative, right? Electrons are negative. By applying a really strong electric field, their electrons, negatively charged electrons, are attracted to a positive side of this field, right? And they're repelled by the negative side of the field, because like charges repel and unlike charges attract. So electron will want to move to this side, opposing the electric field. So if we apply a really strong electric field, it will be strong enough such that electrons will jump out of the surface and move opposite to the electric field. And this electric field should be in the order of 10 raised to 8 volt per meter, right? This is a really strong electric field, 10 raised to 8 volt per meter. We can see 10 raised to 8 means like 0.000 this much volt mean. So you can see how big of a number this is. So applying such a big electric field, we can excite these small electrons from the surface outside, because we have to overcome this nuclear attraction. Okay. The third type of electron emission is secondary emission. Yeah. Secondary emission, it involves an external force, but we use electrons to bounce off the electrons from the surface. I'll tell you how. Like the definition is, secondary emission is when a material releases secondary particles such as electrons when bombarded by high energy primary particles like electrons. So consider the electrons on the surface as secondary particles. Primary particles, high speed primary particles, okay? So high speed particles like photons or electrons or ions are bombarded into the surface. Bombard means to hit with great force, right? So these particles hit the surface with a great force, and they just push out the electron from the surface. Like if you are playing pool, you know how the cue ball goes and hits the other ball, and the cue ball transfers its energy to the other balls, right? And those balls move and the cue ball stays still. Like if we were studying elastic collision, the primary body hits the secondary body starts moving, and the primary body comes to rest, right? In such a manner, in electrons also, high speed electrons bombard the surface, and these electrons disperse into random directions because of this high speed energy containing particles. So secondary emission is quite different from these two. And the fourth and final type of emission which you are going to learn is photoelectric emission, which this whole class is about. So we can discuss photoelectric emission in detail because that's what we are primarily going to learn. This was just for your understanding. You have to know what all these are, but mainly we're going to focus on photoelectric emission, which is going to be held in the next part.